All right. So the red light came on. A lot of people get nervous right now because this is like high pressure podcast content here. How are you feeling? You want to go forward?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's
He's
go.
good. He's going to go forward, everybody. All right. So jumping in, why don't you tell my listeners a little bit about who you are and what your company does?
So my name is Trung Pham. I'm the founder and CEO of RYSE. We are a IoT smart home company, and we create these little gadgets right here. They're all home automation devices, and what they do is they motorize and automate window coverings. So this little baby is our first and flagship product, and motorizes any window shade with a beaded chain. And this motorizes any curtain that hangs on a rod or a track. So very popular in hotels and coming back in multifamily apartments and luxury homes and whatnot. So the idea of the company, the real thesis is that all our devices work with your existing window coverings, so you don't have to replace it. And that's the main core problem we solve. A lot of the solutions in the market today are built into the window blind, so that basically prevents you from actually ever motorizing it unless you replace them.
Sure.
So we
Sure.
give consumers that that automation magic that everyone really wants for the window shades, and yeah, that's what we do
It's
here at
awesome.
Rise.
Yeah. Well, let's go back. What's the origin story? I mean, where did this idea kind of come from? How'd you guys get started? Take us back to day one.
Yeah, so the idea was started because I wanted a solution like that for myself. I had window shades installed. A couple months later, I wanted to motorize them. Went back to the same dealer designers that I bought it from, and they said, nope, you got to replace them because the motors are built into the shades. And I literally thought of like, is there a motorized pulley system? Because that's essentially what this is. It's a pulley system,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
you just basically loop the chains in and motorize it. And they said it didn't exist, and I really thought they were lying, and Googled it. Sure enough, it didn't exist. And here we are, because if you think about it, that's what it is. It's a motorized pulley system. That was kind of like the eureka moment. And hardware's vastly different from any other type of business. Takes a long
Hmm.
time. Takes a long time for R&D before you ever launch a product into the market. So it took us about 3 years from the initial idea conception all the way to products in consumers' hands for the first gen, and then we've been speeding up the development process thereafter. But yeah, that's kind of like our story of how we got started. It was really an idea that I wanted for myself.
Did you have any background in this to jump into it? I mean, I have also had
Nothing
ideas, but I'm
whatsoever.
like, I'm not manufacturing any products right now. So
Nothing
anything?
whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. It's
Okay.
I actually have a finance background,
All right.
so I really focus on the business aspects. Is there a market opportunity? How big is the market? How big is the problem? Number one stat: 90% of households have manual operated window shades. Only
Hmm.
10% are motorized. So we're targeting that 90%. Even when it comes to new construction, like people, they don't want to spend an arm and a leg, or they don't want to spend the budget right away because they have other things to buy. So we give them that avenue. So I was really coming from a user business perspective, and I built a team around of strong engineers and designers that really focused on the engineering aspect and trying to make it work.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that team then. So, as you're kind of growing this, how and who are you looking for? Like, what did you feel like I need to have these first two people? What were you looking for in the beginning?
Definitely engineers. So the first few hires were all engineers. You need someone with I call it a mechatronics background. That's probably a good kind of technical type of partner or co-founder that you need,
Hmm.
because they know mechanical engineer, software engineer, and firmware engineer and electronics and whatnot. So they really know everything around hardware, robotics, and physical devices and whatnot. So every little aspect, that's a good solid first type of team member you'll need. And then you're going to need a bunch of engineers around firmware, software, iOS, Android, electronics,
Right.
mechanical, and then industrial designers, and a lot more. So it's very different from traditional software companies where they just hire a bunch of software developers. There's
Hmm.
a huge hardware component here.
And how did you know and navigate just the process? I have been around a lot of products that have been manufactured, but like it is a task, those first first versions. I don't know if this makes sense. Like, did you really lean on the team, or did you just have a vision in your mind of what you wanted to get to and knew you were on the right path?
So the vision was always there, and like I think every early stage startup founder and CEO, their job is similar to what a product manager would do, where they outline what the first product will look like, how it functions, the key features, the pricing, everything a product manager is responsible for. That's
Right.
their role, because it's the
Yeah.
first product you're developing. So they're gonna dictate and provide direction to the other team members of what the product should look like. I mean, this is the final form factor, but our first prototype was like 3 or 4 times the size, right? It's just proving the first thing we have to prove is like, will it lift? Like, will it actually control the chains and cords and automate your shades? So, um, you know, kind of like what you said, the first few prototypes and whatnot are hideous, and they're definitely not market ready. But you need to do that. You need proof of concepts throughout the way, and after 1 year of R&D or 18 months or whatnot, you're going to get to a version where it's ready to hit the factory floors.
Yeah. And as you're going through this process, are you, I guess I'm looking at my shades. I've got a bunch of windows in this room here. Is this something that could be worked for anyone? Did you focus in on it has to be a certain type, certain length of the room, big windows, small windows? I mean, I guess just, it seems like there could be a lot of variety, I guess. And how are you sort of navigating this product will work for all of them, only work for some? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, so the first product is designed to lift. The shades I had at home were about 9 feet by 9 feet, so definitely larger shades, much larger, especially in North America. So it was designed to lift the heavier, the larger shades. But the first one worked with anything with a beaded chain, a loop, essentially. And then as we got more into the industry and really developed our identity, that took a few years. We're like, okay, what's the next product beyond this? That's when the curtain product came into play, and then we have a product for blinds that tilts. That's coming out in a few months. That's entering production this month, actually. So super excited. And then we have another product that we're going to be announcing in November. So there's a lot of opportunity in this space because there's a lot of windows out there. Like
Right. Yeah.
when you think of the smart home, you might think of one door lock, one thermostat, a
Hmm.
couple light bulbs and whatnot. But there's a lot of windows out there, so the market opportunity is much bigger than a door lock or whatnot.
We're currently pricing out windows for our home, and we have 27 windows. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my
Yeah,
God, oh my
you gotta
gosh.
cover each of them. So it
Yeah,
gets expensive. It could get super expensive.
it does. So as you're going through this process, maybe talk to us a little bit about maybe protecting IP, protecting patents. Just how are you thinking about that and making sure that, your idea is secure?
So it's funny. I just did a reel on this, a good video that I'm going to be kind of pushing on the website and the socials. But there's actually two ways. Highly recommended for both. One is obviously you're going to apply for the patents,
Hmm.
and you're going to have a patent strategy built around like divisional patents, continuation patents, continuation parts. It's very like U.S. and even in Europe has a lot of similar strategies, but you're going to want to protect it in especially Europe and the US.
Hmm.
Um, so that's the first thing. The second thing is even though this brand, our primary brand Rise, we don't actively sell this on Amazon. We actually have a sister brand that we sell on Amazon. So we don't want to compete with our direct to consumer channel, which is our Shopify channel, and our retail channel, which is like Best Buy and the other future retailers we want to get to. That's more of to us the premium channel that we sell the Rise brand, and then we have a sister brand that's a lot more cost effective, more budget for the Amazon channel. Um, but once you have the patents, you can essentially file against any copycats and knockoffs that do sell on Amazon because that's going to happen. So I already saw that coming. Uh, once like I think at one point I had like 100 knockoffs all on
Wow.
Amazon, and I kicked them all off in 1 week, and then more came, and then it's a game of whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
But what happens is that when you do file on Amazon, Amazon has a program called Apex, and
Hmm.
that allows you to file directly with Amazon. And Amazon is the judge, jury, and executioner. They will review your patents and your arguments, and they will offer the other sellers or copycats to submit their patents if they have a patent and their arguments. And 99% of the times they don't have the patents because they're copying your idea. So you will win by default. And once you get that court order or that judgment, you could use that judgment to kick off any copycats on Amazon instantly. So that's like the number one thing you need to do. You need to own distribution.
Hmm.
The second thing is seek patent insurance. Patent insurance is it's very new, but it's super affordable.
Yeah, I've
It,
never heard of this actually.
yeah, I mean, I looked into it 7, 8 years ago, and it was super expensive back then. Now it's like a
Yeah.
tenth of the price.
Wow.
So yeah, patent insurance as well. It can help you fund lawsuits if you want to sue anybody or defend yourself if somebody does sue you.
Wow. Yeah, those are both actually two things I've never heard of. I mean, even in my space, the Amazon world that you're navigating and this patent insurance is wild. That's really, really good stuff there. Let's talk about how do you think about flagship products? You just kind of mentioned a little bit, your sister company. Like, how do you sort of think about that? And what are just the flagship products, and how do you describe them to people who've never heard about it or seen it?
Yeah, so we have accessories and then we have the core products. The flagship products being the primary products we sell that we have IP and really push because of our IP, we have the only products available in the market.
Hmm.
The smart shade being the primary one, the smart curtain, and then the smart blinds. Those would be the hero products that we actively push because that's what consumers are installing. And then we have a bunch of accessories like buttons, remotes, a bridge to connect to Wi-Fi and create schedules and things like that. But yeah, that's kind of like the two elements we're heavily pushing.
Okay. And then how are you thinking also about when you're getting into this, just leveraging sort of AI, new technologies, the newest bells and whistles that have come out, and making sure that you're, hitting on those things as to whatever the world's changing. So how do you think about just sort of new innovations in the space?
So, like we're doing this interview right now. It's October 8th, and I believe 2 days ago at Gemini, Google just announced that
Yep.
Google Home is going to be I don't know if you call it Google Home still, but like that platform is going to be migrating towards Gemini, so it's going to be like an AI type of home, and that's when you could say like Google or Hey Gemini, like if the temperature gets to X degrees, lower the shades, and it's inherently going to understand that. So we're lucky to be part of that ecosystem where if we're integrated with Alexa and Google Home and Apple Siri and they're building that intelligence, we're just one component that allows the Googles, the Amazons, and the Apples to control our devices and have them think for the consumer. So to me, that's crazy. Like just
Yeah.
walking home, like if they know that you're home and you tell them like, hey, every time I come home, open the shades, and that's all you got
Right.
to say, that's going to make
Yeah.
our experience a lot more magical, and that's what we're looking forward to. Like we don't even have to do anything there. Google, Apple, the rest of them
Right.
already doing that, so we're excited about that for sure.
Yeah. So you really are a part of the Internet of Things. That used to be a phrase that we would hear all the time. Has that phrase sort of died out into what you're describing right now? I mean, I don't hear it
Yeah,
as much basically in the ethos. Is that how you guys feel too?
yeah, it's really IoT moving towards AI
Hmm.
because the idea of IoT was automation. Like you have these devices that you're putting Wi-Fi modules in or Bluetooth or Zigbee or MAT or whatever to be able to be controlled. But even then, it was really just an app that controls it. Really, really binary kind of. Once
Hmm.
you add AI into it, you're not speaking to the devices directly. You could be, but more likely than not, you're going to be using a platform like a Google, like an Amazon, like Alexa or Gemini, and you're going to be telling it and having it learn your habits and what you want. Like hey, there's too much glare, lower the shades. Or like when there's too much glare, lower the shades. When I get home, open the shades. When it gets to
Hmm.
7 p.m., like you're just going to talk to the smart brains of the home and it's going to be able to control everything in the home from your lights, your shades, your locks, whatever. That's the next movement in the smart home. And that's going to be super
Right.
excited.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, let's move over to traction, sales, distribution, maybe the finance portion, your bread and butter here. Let's talk about just revenues and what does stuff look like, and what is growth right now? What are KPIs that you're sort of looking at?
So we're likely going to double revenue this year, even though things are a little crazy with the tariffs and a lot of economic challenges in the US and
Yes.
whatnot.
Yeah.
But we're going to double revenue. We're launching a bunch of cool new products. We're likely going to end up the year with 5 million or so in revenue. Cumulative revenues will be likely over 15 at this point. Again, all direct to consumer. We do sell in Best Buy, about 100 locations in Canada, and we're planning to expand to more retailers next year. But this year has definitely been a little slower on the retail side because a lot of them are trying to pivot away from products that are made in China and whatnot.
Sure. Hmm.
Lucky for us, we do have a factory in the Philippines as well, so that helps alleviate some kind of issues and fears that some of these retailers or partners have. But yeah, that's kind of like the metrics, growing team member 29, 10 grants in patents, received a $4 million clean tech grant to develop our tech
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
energy savings, and yeah, like we're actively growing the company, and our goal and our vision is to be one day be in the same spot that Ring Doorbell went. They got
Yeah.
acquired by Amazon for $1 billion, and
Right.
the Nest thermostat got acquired by Google for $3 billion, and that's the direction and that's the vision that we have for our company. And I don't see why we can't get there because there's a lot of windows out there.
A lot of windows. How do you guys think about maybe like partnerships with like hotels or big brands like that would need 1,000? I don't even, whatever it is. How do you sort of think about that? Is that like a unit you guys have that's like that's what their job is, just to look for partnerships?
Yeah, so I would say B2B is something that we're going to be looking into more next year.
Hmm.
It's a slower sales process, to be honest, because
Sure.
there's so
Sure.
much red tape, but the
Hmm.
market opportunity is massive.
Right.
You are selling mass volume. It's all going to be negotiated, so it's a wholesale deal. That's essentially what's going to be pushed. You might be able to be selling it at a 30, 40, 50% discount from retail price, which is fine because they're buying mass volume. But that's where I see the long-term opportunity where you could close a big real estate development group with our products and sell them the product and have them deployed in all their hotels or all their
Hmm.
apartments or anything like that and provide a better experience for their guests or their tenants.
Yeah. And how do you, with your team, with product development, as you're kind of leading this charge, not feel the pressures maybe of coming up with something new like every year, like the iPhone? I mean, I'm a guy who's like, what is the differences between the 17 and what I have right now, the 16 Pro? Like, like, do you think about that? Like, man, do we always have to have a new bell and whistle like every quarter, every year?
No,
I think that's got to be a lot of pressure for companies right now.
not really, because like the iPhone itself and those type of technologies, there's so much in it. There's
Hmm.
so much you could do with it. It's so embedded in your life. Whereas our technology is there for one purpose and solving one problem.
Right.
When you think of other smart home companies like the Nest, the Rings, they don't go through product refreshes ever so often. They do it maybe once every 3, 4 years, to be honest. So we'd follow the same cadence. Another good example is like, when's the last time you bought a new TV? Like, you're not going to
Oh, it's
replace your
been a
TV
while.
every year,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You replace your TV once every 5, 7 years.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't think that there's a need for a refresh. I think
Hmm.
there is a need to launch a lower price version and probably a premium version that serves a different
Mm.
audience and market,
Sure.
which is something we've done on the lower end side. But that being said, that doesn't mean that you're just buying one and you're done. We see that customers buy one, they install it, they test it, they love it, they come back and buy more. They
Sure.
might buy two
Yeah.
for their living rooms, and then two for their bedrooms, and then two for their family rooms, and then
Hmm.
two for their kitchens, and then their kids' room, and
Right.
eventually over the next couple of years they have everything motorized and automated. That's kind of the process that we've seen. So
Hmm.
it's a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more attractive than just buying one or two thermostats per household. You have that ability to get a lot of reorders. It may be
Hmm.
not all in the same year, but you have the ability to bring that customer back into your website and buy more products over the
Sure.
coming years.
Sure. Let's pivot a little bit over to fundraising. So I have known you for, I don't even know, 5 years now, 6 years now in the fundraising space. You've run a good amount of equity crowdfunding deals. Where are you right now in kind of the investment journey of just raising capital? Where are you guys right now?
Yeah, so I will tell you that I'm going to say it's a pivotal moment in our company because we had like a term sheet from a VC right before COVID and diligence was done, legal fees were like stacking up, you know,
Hmm.
all of that. And then when COVID hit, they pulled the deal. So that's a $4 million term sheet that's just went down the drain. And when I think about it, I can't get mad at them because the thesis back then was like, hey, we're going to be pitching to commercial office buildings, hotels, and whatnot. What happened during COVID? Everyone's on
Yeah.
lockdown. No one's going
Right.
to the office.
Hmm.
You can't even travel.
Yeah.
So it made sense. So I can't blame the reasoning for um, you know, reneging on the term sheet. But because of that, it got me thinking like we can't be beholden to institutions and their investment structures and whatnot and their time
Hmm.
frame. We got to kind of control the fundraising process internally, just like how we control direct to consumer sales and whatnot.
Hmm.
So because of our DTC background, we pivoted to community rounds, equity crowdfunding, Regulation A, OMs in Canada, things like that. And we manage the entire process just like a funnel in an online sales structure. So instead of, you're running ads, you're driving traffic to Shopify to get product sales, you do the same thing to our investment website and to solicit investors. So that's what we did. And like you said, we've been doing this for 5 years since
Hmm.
you've known me for 5 years,
Yeah.
and that's how we've been
Yeah.
funding the company. Like so, we know that we can't, because of this pivot, we know we can't go to the same investors that invested 10, $20 million into bring in their Series A, but we can
Hmm.
get um, the community involved and raise the same amount over a series of years and just be more capital efficient that way.
Right. Right. What have been some of the positives and maybe even the negatives of just doing community rounds, in your opinion?
I think the logistics is a lot more challenging than people would believe,
Hmm.
especially when you do a Reg A. I would always highly recommend do a Reg CF if you can. There is a cap of 5 million, but you could get started much faster. You just need to get the audited statements. You don't need a 1A. But yeah, that's my recommendation to Reg CF. If up to 5 million is fine for every 12-month raise. Otherwise, you'd have to do a Reg A. But definitely the logistical matter, getting everything set up, the cost associated with Reg A is a huge deterrent. So you got to make sure that you have that initial setup money and then the capital to run the actual campaign.
Yeah. And how do you, I guess, foresee or even think about if acquisition, if all these things could happen that you talked about, the rounds that you've done, the multiple raises, everybody would be taken care of. Like how do you just picture that in your mind and just make sure that like everything would be, good to go here if the Amazons of the world knocked on the door, the Googles or whatever,
That's the vision. That's the direction that we want to go towards. That's what makes
Mhm.
sense to me. And have a strong conviction for that. Like I don't see any other logical direction we can go. Like we can only go up. Like it's huge opportunity. It just makes sense. Like it's one of those products that makes sense. And I think
Mhm.
our our sales, our direction, and the response from the community and our customers have proven that. Sales are only growing. We're launching a bunch of new cool products, and that's where we eventually want to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you sit around right now and just navigate the potential risks? Or what do you think they could be? Is it supply chains? Is it competition? Is it regulatory adaptation? People just using them? Like what are what's kind of the thing that keeps you up the night the most, around that?
It's actually through customer acquisition
Mm.
because like Facebook's algorithm changes all the time.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
adapt. Like, 10 years ago, you could run a shitty looking ad and get crazy amount of
Mm.
sales. You can't do that today.
Yeah.
So I feel that every consumer brand out there is slowly shifting to becoming a media company where they have to really
Hmm.
control the creative, the messaging, the
Yep.
stories, the angles in their ads and their marketing. That's what I have been really focusing on this year,
Hmm.
building out that kind of studio, that creative strategy to tell our story, tell the benefits of the products, and reach new customers because it changes all the time, and you just have to be on top of it. And that's it's both exciting, but it's both something that really stays on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if people are interested, they've gotten to this point, where should we be sending people? Where should people to dive in to learn more about what you guys are working on?
Visit invest.hellorise.com and you just type in hello rise RYSE.com and you'll end up on our offering page, or just visit hellorise.com and there's a huge invest button.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Trong, like I said earlier, man, I've always admired what you guys are doing. I think you guys are one of the, pinnacle fundraising, crowdfunding companies. You're always raising. You guys are always doing it the way that I tell people, I'm like, watch these guys. They know what they're doing. And I love what you guys are doing. I think you've got the right mindset for all this. So I'll have, for you guys listening, I'll have all the show notes and links in either the newsletter or all the posts. So make sure you please go check them out. I can almost guarantee you're going to dig what they're doing and the products are awesome. Are. So again, appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're busy, and this was really, really informative. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.